Following Portugal's underwhelming performance at the 2014 World Cup and a surprising defeat to Albania in the first European qualifying match, Paulo Bento was replaced by Fernando Santos in September 2014. Santos led Portugal to their first ever major tournament victory at the 2016 Euros. Despite winning only one match in regulation time, Portugal's pragmatic approach culminated in a 109th minute strike from Eder in the final against France. Here's a detailed guide at how you can recreate Portugal's 2016 Euros tactics in FC24. Fernando Santos preferred the 4-4-2 formation. With this system in place, Ronaldo was the key figure in the attack. This formation was designed in order to create chances and opportunities for the attacking players. The wider players acted as false wingers and would often drift inside to formulate that diamond formation. One of the holding midfielders was given the license and the freedom to drift forward, transforming the 4-4-2 formation into a 4-1-3-2. The tactical setup under Fernando Santos for Portugal during the 2016 Euros was very much put in place to try and get the best and maximize the talent of the Portuguese side. The likes of Ronaldo up front looking to use his pace and get him behind, not really using him as a natural winger, but more or less focusing his attacking outlets in the box and trying to get the best out of his goal-scoring talents. The likes of Pepe as well, and of course, one of the breakout stars of the tournament in Fernando Santos. Portugal would often look to try and mix their defensive tactics. This would help catch the opposition off guard, and this meant that they could apply a deep block at times, looking to drop back into their defensive shape and have the opposition try and break them down, which at times proved very hard to do. Or they could look to set midfield pressing traps where they would look to try and destroy the opponent's rhythm in those midfield zones, or even the likes of Ronaldo and Nani could press further forward and press them from the back. Therefore, the defensive style going forward should be set to balanced. The defensive width should be set to 15, and this will help recreate Portugal's tight, narrow, gritty defensive behaviors. The compact setup minimized space between the defenders and also focused on central solidity. This meant that the false wingers would look to drift more centrally at times and help overload and overwhelm the midfield zones. The 2016 Euro champions didn't really get too high up the field, so therefore I would more or less deduce that the depth of that side should be set to around 45, but it can also range and drop to a deep block at times, and I would say you could drop that to around 25, and we saw this in the game versus France in the final. This approach created a strong central presence, making it very difficult for the opposition to try and establish an offensive rhythm. As mentioned before, this system was set up to try and get the forwards in those attacking positions, and more so the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo. So the build-up play going forward should be set to fast build-up, trying to use the pace of the side to try and exploit the opposition with their lackadaisical defensive coverage. Not to mention the fact that Cedric and Rafael Guerreiro would also join in the attack down the wider areas. The team wasn't really focused on trying to build up the play from the back, looking to play those short passes. Santos was quite happy with Rui Patricio punching the ball along and having them try and build a quick attack, whether it was through the quick transition passes or the long ball approach in behind. The chance creation, however, is set to balance. Now, this incorporates both the forward runs as well as the direct passing. As stated before, Portugal's tactics with this system were set up to try and use the pace of the side, and this would push the players high up the pitch to create those offensive overloads in the final third. The midfield consisted of players such as João Mario, Renato Sanchez, João Moutinho, or the likes of Adrian Silva, depending on who Fernando Santos favored for that game. And these players would be very intrinsic in the aggressive overloads higher up the field. The offensive width of the side is set to 50, a very balanced approach, allowing for those false wingers to drift centrally at times, overload and overwhelm the central zones, or alternatively, they can choose to combine very effectively in the wider channels and look to supply attacking movements from those wider spaces. Portugal would consistently choose to overwhelm the opposition's box, looking to try and flood that area with as many bodies as possible. This meant that when a chance was created with a cross or a cutback, the opportunity was more times than not taken. They would also look to try and focus on players such as Ronaldo and Pepe for set-piece situations. And then finally, people, the corners and the free kicks should be set to 4. Now, for the player instructions, you'll start off at the back with the goalkeeper, and at that time it was Rui Patricio, and he'd be set to come for crosses and maintain a balanced approach for saving outside of the box. Patricio often dominated the air, looking to try and eliminate those aerial threats when they were fired into the box. He was also given the options of playing the shorter passes into the centre-backs or looking to punt the ball long, and more often than not, he would choose the latter option. The roles for both of your centre-backs should be set to the base set of instructions, but the role of Pepe, however, is slightly different, of course. We do know that Pepe has a lot of aggressiveness in his game, so you want to still implement that temperament into the game, so therefore aggressive interception should be applied. Both of the centre-backs were very adept at being able to play the forward passes, whether it was a long ball further forward or just a short pass into the midfield, looking to get the ball moving and start generating that offensive movement. And along with the great offensive attributes that they possessed, they were also very good at knowing when to engage with the opposition forwards. The fullbacks at the time were Rafael Guerreiro as well as Cedric Soares, and they were very good at knowing when to attack and when to defend, looking to try and balance their attacking opportunities with their defensive responsibilities. Not overly looking to always bomb forward, but when they did, they would often look to try and overlap and hug the touchlines and generate the width in the side, looking to attack those wider channels as much as possible, supplying crosses, cutbacks, and offensive opportunities from those wider areas. As you'll see here for the right back, he's set to the same instructions as well. The defensive midfielder, which could have been William Carvalho or Danilo Pereira, should be set to tight mark, stay back while attacking, stick to position, and then cover the central zones. You want at least one of your midfielders to stay back and try and cover for that defensive backline area, looking to try and break up the play as best as he possibly can. The right midfield position was occupied by either a João Mario in the early stages of Euro 2016 or at the latter stages, the likes of Renato Sanches, who provided a bit more directness, a bit more pace, and a bit more grit and bite down that right flank. So he would be set to come back on defense. You want all of your midfielders dropping deep and helping support the defense, looking to try and break up the play as best as they possibly can and try and stifle the opposition's offensive rhythm. Cut inside as well as getting behind. Those are two key elements to Renato Sanches. So he could look to execute offensive movements in behind, looking to use his pace, or he could look to drift a bit more centrally, combine with the other midfielders, create opportunities for the two forwards, or even opportunities for himself. And that is more or less what you're looking to try and generate down this right-hand side. The interception should be set to normal, as well as the support on crosses should be set to a balanced approach. Now, as stated before, the likes of Fernando Santos did prefer a 4-4-2 system, and one of the central defensive midfielders was given the freedom to bomb forward, and that could have been Moutinho or the likes of Adrien Silva. Adrien Silva was selected for the final versus France. Now, you want this player to be able to be forward and combine with the attacking players and link the play between the midfield and the attack, but at the same time, you also want him dropping a bit deeper next to the other defensive midfielder at times. So therefore, even though he starts at a slightly higher rate, he will consistently look to drop a bit deeper and pair up next to the other player. So the support on crosses, however, should be set to get into the box, and this will help him try and overload those offensive areas and try and create and facilitate on the edge of the box, making those late edge of the box runs into the deeper phases of the attacking play. Interception should be set to normal, and then finally cover the center and stick to position. Initially, the left midfield position was Andre Gomes, but the emergence of Renato Sanches paired up with the fantastic form that João Mario was in, it was very hard to keep out both of those players. So therefore, the likes of João Mario was shifted over to the left-hand side, where he would be more of a wider playmaker that could come central and combine very effectively with both the wider players as well as the central areas of the field. So João Mario in this position was fantastic. He'd be set to come back on defense, looking to help support, but maintain a balance with that. Now, this essentially means that he can drift out wide, combine quite frequently with the likes of Rafael Guerreiro, or even drift inside a bit more and combine with the other players. The come short approach will help him drift into those central zones and help support the build-up play in those midfield areas, as well as just provide passing options for the other players. And then finally, normal interceptions, and then stay on the edge of the box for the cross. Up front now, to your left and your right strikers. Now, on the right-hand side, it was Nani who would try and do a lot of the dirty work for Ronaldo, looking to work very, very hard off the ball, winning the ball back, contributing on the defensive end, whilst also allowing him to drift wide and pull certain players out of their natural positions, generating a lot more space for the star striker. So for Nani's role going forward, he should be set to drift wide, and this will help get him into those wider right channels, combining very effectively with Renato Sanches or even the likes of Cedric Soares at times. He would also be set to playing as a false nine, dropping a bit deeper, combining with the midfield, and looking to link the play with Cristiano Ronaldo. The interception should be set to normal, and then finally you want him coming back and helping out on the defensive end. And now the role of Cristiano Ronaldo. A fun fact, at the time he was 31 years old, and a lot of the commentators were saying this is his last chance to possibly win a trophy with Portugal. It's probably going to be one of his last, tournaments. They expected him to play in the World Cup in 2018, and that would probably be his last. But here we are, 2 Euros later, and he is still performing at optimum levels for a 39-year-old. But he was 31 at this time, so essentially this whole system was built around trying to feed Ronaldo the offensive opportunities, and that is exactly what it tends to do quite nicely. So Ronaldo had the offensive freedom to choose whether he could drift out wide, operate in his more natural left wing position, or stay a bit more central and be the focus of the attacking style of play. The attacking runs should be set to get behind. You want to try and use Ronaldo's pace to the team's advantage, looking to be a very direct attacking player. Normal interception should be applied, although if you are looking to press from the front, you can allow him as well as the other striker to, press and second man press and try and close down certain passing lanes and angles. And then finally, you want him to stay forward. He will very much be the outlet ball in the attack. And there you go, people. That is how I would successfully implement the Fernando Santos Portugal Euro 2016 tactics in FC24. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. It was a lot of fun to go ahead and make and recreate and do the research for. And it's kind of crazy that they only won one game in the regulation time of 90 minutes. They had to take it to extra time and penalties and last minute winners, and it was sensational living the moments. It was even more sensational trying to relive the moments and do the research, and it was fantastic. But you guys can let me know down below what you would rank and rate this system out of 10. For me personally, I don't overly enjoy the back and forth style of football. It reminds me very much of an NBA game. A lot of transitioning, a lot of fast breaks. There's no real control. And I mean, at the time, Portugal were highly criticized for their lack of control in games. So therefore, the rating that I'm giving this system would be a 6, and that is due to the fact that you don't really establish a foothold in the games. You might score a lot of goals, but at times you might concede a lot of goals. So it is a back and forth type situation. Although with a strong defense and a compactness of that defense, it does tend to keep out quite a few of the opposition's attacks. But you guys will have to let me know down below in the comment section what you think of the various tactics that we have been able to produce over like the last few weeks and months and all that good stuff. Anyways, before I go, join the Discord, Rom Squad Gaming Discord server. The link will be down below in the description. It is open for you guys to join if you are interested in football chats, if you're interested in FC24 tactics and all that good stuff. Join it. You will absolutely enjoy it. There are some fantastic people on there making incredible different tactics and styles of play. It's honestly, it's amazing. It is amazing, and big ups to those people on the Discord already. So until the next time, which will be tomorrow, we are coming out with some more Euro 2024 tactics.